for this tutorial, I'm going to take a little bit different tack. In the past, when I've done a tutorial, I set up a task and I says, this is how you do that task. In this case, I'm going to break in kind of into the middle of something, and then hopefully if you can see what's going on in the middle, it'll help you understand what you need to do to get people to the point where they're in the middle of the task. What you're looking at is the video editor. This happens to be the Sony Vegas video editor. Now, there is a NotePad file that I've already generated part of. And what this NotePad file is a list of files that will be used in the video. And they are arranged in the order that I want to see them put into the video. When you're making a similar file, you will be also making the determination of what pictures will go into a video and in what order. Now in this case, the only things I have is pictures and a couple of videos. I don't even have the videos in the NotePad, and there's no audio files, but every file that will be included in the video should be listed in the NotePad. And I'm going to go through how to set up the NotePad a little bit later. So if I go back to the video editor, those files go into this pool of media. So this is all the pictures. It also includes the videos. It also will include things that are generated by the video editor. For example, this title is in there and it will be generated media. As you can see, the title of this video is Aunt Clara, friends, is Bednarik and her family. Now, your Aunt Clara is not in your direct descendancy. Your Aunt Clara is your mother's sister, one of your mother's sisters. So since it's not direct descendancy to you, we need to identify where in the family tree we break out from your lineage to this video. To that end, I recommend, I'm going to start this. In fact, I'm going to expand this. And here we have the in fact, I'll go back a little bit here. Here we have the fan chart. This is what I recommend to do, to start with the fan chart, because the fan chart will give you the parents of somebody that will be related to your lineage but is not part of your direct lineage. If we zoom in on that fan chart, you can see that we've zoomed in to Edwin Willis Long and Grace Gertrude Gumage. And from there, we can actually look up one level back in the ancestry. We can also see the descendancy that goes to you, which is Mary and Gertrude Long, your mother. And then you can also see yourself in this particular fan chart. Once you've identified that this is the breakout point for this, and this dot here just identifies, hey, this This is the point we're zeroing in on. This is where the breakout is going to occur based on the information on this span chart. If we move ahead in the video, we can now see a picture of the family of Edwin Willis Long and his wife, Edwin on the left and his wife on the right, and his children, and two of his grandchildren. And his grandchildren is you on Edwin's lap and your sister Marilee on his wife's lap. The woman up at the upper right, I believe, is your mother. And the subject of this video is her sister, your Aunt Clara, seated in the middle of the picture. And once you get to this picture, you can identify this and describe it verbally, titles, name overlays, whatever. But that would be basically done by whoever makes the video based on the information you'll be providing. So I can basically go ahead and start this again. And what I've done, this doesn't work very smoothly because it's first I'm zooming in on your mother. I think that's your mother there. See, it didn't work smoothly because it zoomed in on your mother and then it panned over to your Aunt Clara. So there's your Aunt Clara. And this is where the story of your Aunt Clara and her family starts. We have a picture of your Aunt Clara as a young child. Then we have a picture of your Aunt Clara. She looks like probably a young teenage girl. And of course, the audio files will track these pictures and describe what's going on in the pictures. And you'll be generating the audio tracks. Of course, there's no audio tracks for this yet. Then there's another picture. It looks like your Aunt Clara is probably a little bit older teen. And another picture of her as an adult. She appears to be wearing a coat. She might be at the Pilot Butte Inn, just sort of surmising. Looks like it might be a winter view because she seems to be wearing a coat. And then there's a couple of pictures of your Aunt Clara on the air with the microphone at the Pilot Butte Inn doing her KBND radio broadcast. So there's one picture, another picture, another picture, and then we move on to her children. And these are her children as young children. And you have those pictures, so you have them available. And these are pulled down out of this pool. They're brought into this pool from the NotePad listing of the pictures. And there's another picture of one of the children. 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 And I didn't get all of them. I just got a selection of them. And there's another one of the child on a horse. Let me scroll through this a little bit here. This thing is hard. My mouse is acting up here. It doesn't want to track right. And if I start this, then it goes to another title, which you can see up above where the pictures are. And this is children as adults. And there's a couple of videos that I put in. I guess there's also pictures you have of his children and grandchildren, both as children and adults. We don't have to watch all of that. You've seen that video already. And then there is also some pictures that Richard sent me that was, I think it might have been Julie as an adult and her kids. And I don't know that those have been uploaded to the iDrive or the my drive, but I'll check on that. And then we have also a let's see, I'm still in that one. Let me move on. Oh, let's see. Need to come here. And then here is where Carol came and visited at my house. That's the time we went to the Dairy Queen. And so you'll be able to see. I got some more batteries in the house. See Carol and her kids. Well, the quality's not as good.
You move your head.
Wave, Doug.
Wave your hand.
And we don't really need to see more of that, I guess. So, if the subject of the video is going to be your Aunt Clara and her family, including her extended family, then I would think that all this information would be fair game to put into the video. And whatever other information you have could also be put in. In addition, you have a picture of yourself, and you have you have an audio file that you have generated for this. So there's the tail end of the trip to Dairy Queen, and the car is just pulling out as Carol departs the Dairy Queen.
Is a picture of me. It was after my mission. No, it wasn't. It was before I went on my mission. This was me sitting on my Aunt Clara Long Bednarik's front porch. I walked over. They lived on the lot next. She bought the lot next to us and built a house on it. And so I walked over to visit her that morning, and she was doing something. And so I sat down on the porch, her back porch, to wait for her. And I was in my bathrobe. It was a nice sunny morning, so we used to walk back and forth to visit each other. Just and it was just a little trail through through the rocks and the sagebrush, and it was okay, except in the wintertime. The hot rocks were hard to find. And one winter, when winter came, she didn't live there very long. She had another house built in Redmond. I don't know. I think it was too isolated, because I remember one morning it had snowed. Oh, it must have snowed about 10 inches. And I thought, well, I'll just shovel a path over to her place, because she was getting pretty old then. I think she was 19 years older than I was. So she would have been, I guess, probably up in her 70s. I don't remember. Anyway,
So anyway, there is a picture and an associated audio file that is brought into this pool as well. Now, that particular audio file is not in the NotePad, but it should be. And because it's a file that ends up in this video, it needs to be in that NotePad. So anything that's going to end up in this picture, in this video, needs to be included in the NotePad. So let's look at an example of using the NotePad to gather up this kind of information. Now, the first thing I would recommend, considering the problems you've had with trying to copy and paste stuff and creating new NotePad files every time you try to copy and paste something, I recommend that you go to put the caps lock on and identify what this NotePad file is for. In this case, it would be Aunt Clara's, oops, okay, and once you've identified this clearly in the body of the NotePad file, anytime you go to copy and paste something, make sure that this is the NotePad that you're going to copy it in. If you've somehow created a brand new NotePad that's stacking up behind the others, you won't have that information on it, and you'll know that you're not going to want to paste anything into that. You want to get rid of that NotePad and try to find the one that you really want to put the data in, and that's the one that will have the name of the video at the top. Now that we have this, probably the first thing to do is to go and save this NotePad. And so we'll do a save as. Okay, and I happen to be in the right folder here. This just happens to be the folder that I am using, and for this one, because this is an example, this other NotePad file, this TXT file, is the one you saw earlier that has those pictures in it listed. In this one, I'm going to call it example. Oops, I don't really want to do, hate putting all caps in there. Forgot to take the caps lock off. Example, copy and paste. So that's saved. Now that it's saved, you can see that it changed from untitled up here to example copy paste .txt. So now we can start putting the files into here. Well, the files are going to be on the My Drive. So we need to open the My Drive, and it's on one of the web browsers. Here's the My Drive, and we're in the root directory, and you will be locating the picture. So we'll go probably to the all people, and we can come down to the Bednarics section, that's that past the beavers. And there's where we start with the Bednari pictures. And if you want to include these Bednarics, which you probably would not, because number one, they're not in your lineage, nor are they related to you, except by marriage, and it's not even the marriage of anybody it's only by marriage of someone who's an aunt of yours. So you probably wouldn't even include these people unless you wanted to. I mean, there's no law against doing it. It just seems like they're a little bit far afield for doing that. So let's say you want to have the first picture in the video to be this picture. And it says this is Bednari Carol Joy. Okay. What you can do is right click on the picture, in the pop-up go to rename, and we're not going to rename the picture, but what you'll notice is the file name is highlighted, but the file extension is not highlighted. What you want to do is to have everything highlighted. So if you click in the file name one time, it will unhighlight that, and then if you do 3 quick clicks, it will select everything. Okay? But you don't want to do anything with this file except copy it. And what I'm going to do is do a Control-C, and now that file name, including the extension, is in the Windows clipboard. I'm now going to cancel this so I don't risk messing up that file name. And I'll go back to the NotePad, and I can do a Control-V, or I can right click and tell it to paste, and boom, there's that file name for that picture. I can come down a couple of spaces. Let's say the next picture I want is how about the next one? Another picture says of Carol. Same thing. Right click on it, tell it to rename, click on it once to unhighlight the file name part of it without the extension, triple click to select everything, do a Control C to copy it into the Windows clipboard, cancel that, go back to the NotePad, and paste that into the NotePad. Go down to the next picture. Let's say the next picture, for some reason, is that you want to have a picture of your Aunt Is here at the microphone at the radio station. If that's the case, right-click on the picture, click Rename. In this case, you cannot see the whole thing, so you can't see that the file extension is not highlighted. But you know that it's not, because you know how this thing works. But you do know that if you click on it once, it'll unhighlight everything. Do three quick clicks. Now everything is highlighted. Now you do a Control C, cancel, go back to the NotePad, and you can do a Control V or do a paste through the pop-up menu. In this case, I'm going to do a Control V, paste that in, and you will notice that that file name does have the file extension on it. So that process worked the way it's supposed to. And you just keep going down through these. Now, if you have collected a group of these pictures and they're not in order, the fact that the pictures have the long file names gives you a good idea of what the picture is. So since you can kind of see what the picture is based on those long file names, you could actually fairly conveniently go through and reorder the pictures right in the NotePad into the order that you'd like them to come up. And then if there's a question about what is actually the content of a picture, then you can go and look at the picture. Now let's say we have have created a list of pictures. Now in this case, I've just got a couple of pictures. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to continue with this NotePad. I'm going to go back to the previous NotePad. What I wanted to show you here is the process of creating this NotePad file by copying and pasting the files into the NotePad. So I'm going to just get rid of this NotePad here. Because there's been changes made to it since it was last saved, I can tell it to save or don't save, doesn't matter. I'll just say save, doesn't matter. My voice is still failing on me here. If we look at the NotePad file, this mouse is not tracking right. And this is the way that the people will, in fact, what I should do is, I didn't do this for myself because I don't have the problem you have with generating lots and lots and lots and lots of notepads stacked up on top of each other that are empty. Put the title on there. And I can save that to make sure that it's, and it's been saved before, so I could just hit save here and it'll update the saved version. Now if I have a picture, and let's say we want to look at this picture. Okay, we want to find this picture. And we want to find this picture so that we can basically download it and put it into the media pool for the video. This is something you would not do, but I'm going to show you why it's important that you do it in an orderly way so that the person who is making the video has this file name, exactly this file name, because it was copied and pasted in, including the file extension. And we can highlight this and copy it. And we can copy it either by manually right-clicking and telling it to copy. We could also do it with a Control C. And I'll bring this down to a smaller size. And I'm going to go to the My Drive. Okay. The My Drive is the top level drive. It's the root level drive for the My Drive. If I search this drive, it's going to search everything on this drive if we start at the root directory. And the search term that we want to put in is what you just copied, which is that file name. So we do a Control V. And if we click the little magnifying glass here on the left side, it's going to find every instance of that picture. And it looks like there's 4 instances where that picture comes up. There's 3 different places on the My Drive that it shows up. And there is the NotePad file that has the list of the files. In fact, you can see that if I do a preview of that NotePad file, and you can see there it is as it was before it was saved the last time. And in fact, since the person will have that's doing the video will have access to this file, and since this is a text file, they'll be able to and I'm not sure which one, I don't remember which one we had here, but this can be highlighted, it can be copied and pasted into the search window, and you can find the file from there. In fact, let's pick a different one here. How about one of them that where she's in the doing the radio thing. Do a Control C. We can go back to the root directory of the My Drive. And to get there, I'm gonna, since I have this kind of enlarged, make it easier to see, I have to slide this thing over. This mouse is not tracking well at all. And I can click on My Drive here. That takes me back to the root of My Drive. I can go to the search, do a Control V to paste that file name that I had copied. hit the magnifying glass. I could probably also hit the enter key, but it's more visual to click on the magnifying glass. And again, there's 4 files that are associated with that file name. It's in 3 different places on the My Drive and also in that NotePad file that we copied it from. Okay, so the NotePad, the purpose of the NotePad is to gather up all the file names for all the pictures, all the audio files, all the talking points, all the references, all the stuff that is going to be included in the video should go into that NotePad file. So it will be there and available to the person that will be making the video. This assumes that anybody ever makes the video. Chances are nobody ever will make the video, but at least you'll know that you have done your part and have made it that information available to someone if in the future they want to go ahead and make the video. So it's incumbent upon you to make sure that that NotePad file has everything that you want to see associated with that video in it, so that it can be copied over directly into this media pool in the video editor, and then brought down in the order that you have identified that you want to have. In the order that you want to have the information put into the video. So hopefully the whole thing, the whole big picture here of why you need to do what you need to do in the way you need to do it, so that the next person has the information they need in the form they need to have it in order to do their job, is more clear now. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for. So I'm going to end this video